Join us in this detailed tutorial from our expert trainer who walks you through each step. For an even more hands-on experience, you can download the course files linked below and follow along. Let's get started.
Welcome to this video tutorial where we're exploring an overview and purpose of using Copilot within Excel. Copilot in Excel is your AI assistant that's built directly into the spreadsheet. It's there to provide assistance in terms of analyzing and understanding your data. It will also help to generate insights related to your data and additionally help in terms of building charts and graphs without the need to use formulas. You can also utilize Copilot in a number of different ways. For example, you can use it to summarize your data. You can add prompts for things like help me spot trends in my data over the past 12 months, or create a pivot table showing sales by region, or clean this column and remove duplicates. In terms of the purpose, Copilot will help you to work faster and more efficiently and with a lot more confidence, even if you're not an Excel expert. It can also help to enhance your skills, so you could utilize Copilot as a learning tool. Copilot will ultimately help to save you time by exploring data without needing formulas. It will help you in terms of spotting trends or anomalies with the data and also creating formulas. You can use Copilot to assist with data cleaning and answering questions. In order to utilize Copilot within Excel, you'll need to have a valid Microsoft 365 subscription that includes Copilot. In terms of accessing Copilot within the application, it's available from the button labeled Copilot on the Home tab ribbon located to the right-hand side of the ribbon. In terms of syncing OneDrive to your desktop Excel, this is important mainly because you have access to save the information up into the cloud, and then you can utilize the full power of Copilot. And this means that you'll be able to reference real Excel files that are saved in the cloud in terms of adding prompts and asking questions about your data. It also means that you'll be able to automatically save progress within your Excel spreadsheet. In terms of how to sync your files for auto-saving to the cloud, we'll shortly undertake a demonstration to show you how to do that. After opening up the Excel desktop application, select the account link in the bottom left-hand corner. Once you're here, you may need to sign into your account. Go ahead and select the sign in button. Then enter in your work credentials. Once you've entered your email address, select the next button. Then enter your password and select the sign in button. Now that you're signed in, it should automatically link up to your OneDrive. If you have issues, select the Add Service button, hover over the Storage menu, and you'll have an option for OneDrive, Work or School. Go ahead and select that, and then you'll be able to enter in your work credentials to hook up to your OneDrive. Now that our Copilot is connected, we're ready to start using it in Excel. Welcome to this video tutorial where we're talking about understanding data and asking questions about data sets. Let's go and take a look. In this video, we're going to explore a very powerful skill in Excel, which is asking good questions about your data and how you can utilize Copilot in Excel to help you understand the data quickly and confidently. Now, what you're seeing on screen is data that has been created by AI. So I used a prompt to be able to create fictitious sales data for a chocolate company. We have some sales data, and you can see the headings at the top around the year, the month, the region, the brand of chocolate, the channel, number of units sold, and various figures that relate to the sales of chocolate. And at the bottom, we have some additional tabs with some information about regional managers and their performance. We also have some customer feedback data and an information and assumptions sheet. Now, every data set will have a story, but the challenge is about knowing how to ask the right questions so that you can uncover more information. Asking good questions will help you to spot issues or errors, understand patterns and trends, and also make decisions based on evidence or discover something you might have missed. Let's explore how you can ask the right questions by opening up Copilot. If you look at the top in the ribbon, you can see the Copilot icon. If you go ahead and click on that, this will open up the Copilot panel. Now we can explore some of the types of questions that you could ask. One such question is, give me an overview of this data set. And as you can see, I've added that as a prompt. If you need to, pause the video at this point or refer to the support materials related to this training course. When you're ready, go ahead and select the green Send button. Following on from that prompt, you can see that Copilot has produced some information about what it thinks the data set is about. We're scrolling down, we can see some more information here. So it's pulled out the sales data as the largest and most detailed part of the file. This includes an overview of the geographic coverage, the types of brands of chocolate, the key metrics captured, and then it's moving on to the next sheet, which is the regional managers sheet with some information there that has been overviewed, and moving then on to the customer feedback sheet, and finally the information and assumptions sheet. It's also talking about what makes this data set powerful and typical analysis this data set supports, and then it's talking about how this fits your work context. So that has taken a look at some recent content that I've created within Word utilizing Copilot. And then we have some further suggestions at the bottom. If some of those suggestions are of interest, you can then just click on the button. For example, summarize the key findings from the data set. So that's the first example of a question. Let's enter another question. And this question is quite simple. What are the biggest trends in this data? Again, if you need to pause the video to copy that prompt or refer to the relevant support materials. When you're ready, go ahead and select the green button. Copilot has completed the task, and here is some further information related to the prompt. It's identified grocery is the volume engine, convenience is the margin engine. And that's talking about the fact that grocery consistently drives the highest unit volumes and net sales across nearly all regions and brands. And of course, that is mapped to the type of channel. So if we look at column E, it's talking about the type of channel and also why that matters. Then it's talking about premium brands outperform on margin, not always volume. So it's finding some interesting statistics and information there related to that. Heading further down, it's identified DACH, UK and Ireland and France are the economic backbone. So this has identified that those regions are repeatedly appearing as the largest contributors to total sales. Then we're looking at seasonality is strong and predictable. Moving down, it's talking about marketing spend correlates with volume, not always margin. Then we've moved on to customer feedback about what's happening with that and why it matters. And then moving on to the regional managers sheet, it's identifying some information and trends related to that sheet. It's also identified trends related to cost structure. And then it's providing an executive takeaway. And as ever, there's some further information here if you want to translate these trends into a one-page executive narrative. And there are some clear buttons if you wanted to explore that in further detail. So the next interesting question, which would be highly beneficial to ask, is this. So I want to ask Copilot, are there any outliers or unusual values in the data? If you need to pause the video at this point, please do so to copy the prompt. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials. When you're ready, go ahead and select the green button. Copilot has completed the task and it's come up with an answer saying, well, yes, there are some outliers, but nothing completely unusual structurally. If we scroll down, we've got some more details about those outliers that it's identified within the data and the interpretation of them. Also identified here extremely high margins at the top end in terms of premium and convenience combinations. Now, the data is actually fictitious, created by AI, so that is to be expected. Scrolling down, we've got some information about a huge spread in units sold, with some further information there about marketing spend, and also customer feedback, showing fewer outliers than expected. And it's also providing an executive summary. In terms of tips for asking better questions, be specific. Instead of something like show sales, try show total sales by month for 2023. Focus on a column or metric. For example, analyze the amount column for trends. Compare items. For example, compare sales between the North and South regions. In addition, ask follow-up questions. This will sharpen the insights just like talking to an analyst. That's how you can ask meaningful questions regarding prompts to Copilot, and the more you interact with Copilot through your data, the more confident you'll become. Welcome to this video tutorial. We're going to be looking at identifying trends, patterns, and anomalies, and utilizing the power of Copilot within in-app Excel. Let's go and have a look. I've opened up the data set. It's very similar to the previous video, except I have deliberately added in some anomalies. So we'll perform several tasks to explore anomalies. We'll also be looking at trends and patterns with this data set. And just to overview the data that you can see on screen, we have sales data from a chocolate company. The data has different brands of chocolate, different regions. It also has channels. And as you can see, sales data here about units sold and gross margin, for example. There are also additional sheets within this workbook, such as regional managers sheet. And this shows manager productivity levels and their success rates in terms of achievement. There's also the customer feedback sheet showing the overall customer feedback for the different chocolate types. Then there's an information and assumptions sheet. And finally, an anomaly notes sheet. What we'll do is we'll start with trends. So I'll start by asking Copilot a simple question. And to do that, I'm going to select the Copilot button in the top right-hand corner of the Home tab ribbon. And this will open up your Copilot panel. Then we're going to enter the following prompt. Here is the prompt: summarize the trends in sales over time. Feel free to pause the video at this point. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials relevant to this training course. When you're ready, select the green send button. Copilot has completed the task, and we can see here overall sales trend of 2025, and it's talking about the various trends there. So we can see trends for early year, February and March, mid-year and late year with Q4. Heading down, you can see there's information about regional patterns over time, European variations, brand trends over time, channel trends over time, and then you have information here about the key takeaways for decision making. Copilot also provides some further suggestions. For example, break this down numerically month on month or quarter on quarter. And we could also visualize the trends with a line chart by region or brand. At the bottom, you have some clear buttons which you could select to add additional information and prompt to Copilot. The next thing I'd like to ask Copilot is if it can identify patterns within this data. So I'm going to enter a new prompt. Here is the prompt: identify patterns in the data set. Feel free to pause the video if you wish to copy that prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials. When you're ready, select the green send button. Now, in terms of patterns and the difference in patterns and trends, patterns are something that repeats or forms a recognizable structure. It does not have to move upward or downward in time. So think of that as a shape, structure, or repetition. Examples of this could include, for example, a weekly sales spike on a Friday. So that's a pattern. Looking down, Copilot has identified the key patterns that are visible within this data set. It's found that there's a strong seasonality over time, a consistent upward momentum through the year. Q4 is the strongest period. It's also identified regional concentration patterns. Brand hierarchy is stable, so it's identifying the hierarchy there and patterns with that. The channel mix pattern, so it's identified that grocery is the primary revenue and volume driver across all regions and brands. There's information here about the margin consistency in terms of patterns and a scalable growth model pattern. Then you have an overview. So in short, the dataset shows a predictable seasonal growth pattern. Now, next thing we want to explore is anomalies. So we want to be able to try to find out if there are issues or unexpected behaviors with this data set. I'm going to select the Message Copilot box and add a new prompt. Here is the prompt: identify anomalies or unusual values in the sales sheet. Pause the video at this point if you need to copy that prompt or refer to the support materials related to the training course. When you're ready, select the green send button. Copilot has completed the task. If we take a look at the result, it's identified that there is a key anomaly within the Velvet Noir grocery side of the UK and Ireland region. So the issue here is an extreme sales spike. And what's unusual, the units sold and net sales jumped by roughly 2.5 times month on month. Then there's some information about why this matters. So far outside normal seasonal uplift, likely a reporting or one-off event. So it could be that someone has inputted the wrong figures inside certain cells. And for France, there's an issue with sharp sales collapse. And what's unusual, there's a 70% drop in sales while marketing spend stays flat. And there's also anomalies identified for DACH, Nordics, Iberia, Italy and Malta, Central and Eastern Europe, the Balkans, Baltics, and controls. So a lot of anomalies there with the data. And there's an overview here of what these anomalies tell us. So the most issues fall into 4 repeatable categories with extreme spikes and drops in sales, costs without revenue, and impossible margins, and then data structure problems, which could be duplicates. And Copilot is making some further useful suggestions. Flag these rows directly in Excel with formulas or filters, rank anomalies by financial impact, or suggest validation rules to prevent them recurring. Now, just to point out, if you were to select one of those options like flagging the column by using a formula which Copilot could create, just bear in mind that the formula may not work or function correctly straight away. It may well take you a little bit of time to manually edit that function or formula and input further prompts into Copilot in order for it to hone that formula or function to make it work within your spreadsheet. Welcome to this tutorial where we're exploring data analysis in terms of generating summaries and explanations by utilizing in-app Copilot within Excel. Let's go and take a look. As you can see, I've opened up the Choco 2025 spreadsheet and I've navigated to the customer feedback sheet. Customer feedback sheet contains rich, unstructured information such as customer comments. If we look across here, you have information such as the region, country and brand. And then they've given their overall rating with a rating for the taste and the texture, as well as packaging. Now, instead of manually sorting through thousands of feedback rows, we're going to use Copilot to summarize the sentiment within this spreadsheet. And that will help us to identify recurring themes. And then we can also use explaining patterns to help us to produce a valuable narrative insight for this data. So the first thing to do is open up your Copilot panel by selecting the Copilot icon in the top right-hand corner of the Home tab ribbon. With the Copilot panel open, click into the Message Copilot box and enter the following prompt. Summarize the key themes, common issues, and overall sentiment in this customer feedback data set. Take a moment to pause the video if you want to copy the prompt. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials for the training course. And then when you're ready, go ahead and select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task. Let's review what it's come up with. Here's the overall sentiment, which is coming out as mostly or moderately positive. Most customers report being satisfied. Just heading down, there's information there about key themes, taste and texture dominate the feedback. Taste is the most discussed attribute from the comments. Many customers describing products as excellent, smooth, or satisfying. There's a recurring counter theme around excessive sweetness or weaker than expected flavor. There's information here about the packaging experience, the brand level perception, regional consistency. Then it's talking about common issues in terms of sweetness and balance, packaging durability and logistics, product consistency, and lack of memorability. Copilot's also produced notable positives around strong expressions of loyalty and delight, and then providing a final overall takeaway. So the feedback suggests that Choco Nova is doing many things right at a baseline level, but faces 3 strategic improvement levers. So they're refining flavor balance, strengthening packaging robustness, and improving memorability and differentiation. At the bottom, Copilot is making some further suggestions, so all of these are potentially very, very useful. Now that we've added that prompt, I just want to draw your attention to some options. If you hover the mouse up to the top, you'll notice this little panel pops up. So from here, you can edit the original prompt. You see that pops back up there in the Message Copilot box. You can also copy that prompt You can schedule this prompt, but be aware that if you select this, you may receive the following message. So if you want to be able to utilize this scheduling, you'll need to continue to the M365 Copilot app. And what happens if you select the scheduler, it'll open up a new browser window. And from here, you can opt to repeat this prompt every day at 3:30 until Monday, the 23rd of February. You can change the start date to whichever date you want, and then you can switch the time to whatever time you desire. You can also choose the frequency from day, week, or month. You can choose to run this from 1 to 15 times. And then there's a checkbox to receive an email when responses are ready. I'm going to come out of that scheduler and close that page down. And we've come back to our spreadsheet. The final option there in that pop-out window is the option to copy the prompt link. Now, the next thing I'd like to explore is how you can create explanations for customer sentiment. Now, let's ask Copilot why customers feel the way they do about Choco Nova chocolate. So I'm going to select the message Copilot box and enter a new prompt. And this one contains 2 questions. Explain the main reasons behind negative feedback this month and what factors are driving positive sentiment. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to copy this prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials relevant to this training course. When you're ready, select the green send button. Copilot has completed the task and it's provided a focused explanation of what's driving negative feedback this month and what's driving positive sentiment. So here's the main reasons behind negative feedback for this month. So it's identified there sweetness and flavor balance, the single most common driver of negative sentiments, with comments like too sweet or less flavorful than expected. Moving down, there's information here about the packaging and condition on arrival, the customer's perceived lack of distinctiveness, so products that are described as average, standard or not memorable, and occasional consistency issues. Here are some factors driving positive sentiment. Customers are explicitly praising products as smooth, satisfying, or excellent to taste. Then you've got further information here talking about brand loyalty, visual appeal, and consistent baseline satisfaction across regions. Towards the bottom, there's an executive summary with finally the key implications. Copilot is making further suggestions. If you like, you can map these brand by brand, translate them into priority actions for R&D, packaging or supply teams. And you'll also see buttons at the bottom here provide brand by brand analysis and recommend actions to improve customer satisfaction, for example. If you think one of those may be useful, go ahead and select it. I've just selected the recommended actions to improve. I go ahead and select the green send button. Copilot has completed the task, and here we can see some recommendations that it's making. So in terms of rebalancing sweetness and flavor profiles for the highest impact, it's talking about why that's important. And the recommended actions include introducing reduced sweetness or balanced flavor variants, some region-specific options, and side-by-side sensory testing. Then it's talking about packaging improvements in terms of durability and how the product consistency and batch reliability can be improved. It's also talking about how you can strengthen the brand differentiation and memorability, preserve and amplify what customers already love, and then set clear expectations through communication. And here it's providing a timeline of that priority summary and a final bottom line. Now, if this is highly valuable and useful information, what you can do is copy the response. I click on copy response. I could then open up Microsoft Word and I can paste in the response. So I could save this document as a very useful guidance document to help improve the products. You also have an option to the left-hand side, which is the plus button. So you can add this to a new sheet. And if you click that button, you can see that has added all of the text into a new sheet. So this is useful if you want to keep everything in one place. Further options include the ability to share and copy with the response. And if you open up the 3 dots, more options, you can choose to schedule this prompt, and you can also read it aloud, and you can open up this in Microsoft Word. So if you select Open in Word, a message will pop up saying document has been saved to your OneDrive. And if you want to open that up and view that in Word, go ahead and click on the green button. And as you can see, this has opened up Microsoft Word in the browser. So this is the online version, and the document has been saved to the cloud. Welcome to this video tutorial where we're going to be taking a look at data analysis and how you can create charts and pivot charts using Copilot, and we'll be exploring several different methods. Let's go and take a look. Now for this particular tutorial, I have logged into the online space, and you can get there by navigating to m365.cloud.microsoft. Make sure that you've logged in with your work account. And before we go into Excel, what you'll need to do is to make sure that you have saved your Excel spreadsheet to your OneDrive. Go ahead and select the apps link at the bottom and then select OneDrive. Now you'll see a home page view like this. Navigate to My Files, then select a relevant folder to upload your spreadsheet, or you can go ahead and select the blue button to create a new folder or upload your file directly into your OneDrive. If I navigate into my Copilot for Word, Excel and PowerPoint folder, you can see that here is the Choco Nova Europe 2025 Sales and Insights spreadsheet. And that's the one that we're going to be focusing on. You can also drag and drop from your folder directly into your OneDrive. Here is a file that is saved directly onto my computer hard drive. So I could click and just drag that and drop that into my OneDrive space. Once you've added the file, go ahead and select it to open it in the browser. Here is the data which you should be familiar with, and it features different chocolate brands, channels with regional information, and things like units sold, gross, margins, marketing, and overheads. What we're going to do is utilize Copilot to create charts and pivot charts based on this data. And so to open up Copilot, if you take a look in the Home tab browser, you'll see a link there to Copilot. Go ahead and select the Copilot icon, and this will open up your Copilot panel. Now we're going to explore a new mode, which is called Agent Mode. And you can activate this by selecting the Tools menu in the Message Copilot box, and then selecting Agent Mode. Now this will allow direct edits into your workbook. So go ahead and select that. Now, before we get stuck into using this Agent Mode feature, I just want to make a point that if you're not seeing this, if it is not available, then it's likely that you don't have the correct licenses. And you may also need to check with your IT department. If this does not appear, it may be because your admin need to ensure that Copilot features are enabled for your subscription. Select the Describe what you'd like to create or edit box, and then type in your prompt to create your chart. Here is the prompt: create a bar chart to show units sold by UK and Ireland region. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to copy the prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials relevant to this training course, and when you're ready, select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and as you can see, it's created a new UK and Ireland chart sheet, and then it's going through what it has done. So it's created the new sheet, and it's telling us what chart features have been included. So it's created a clustered column bar chart. It's added the title, the X-axis for brand names, and the Y-axis for units sold, formatted with thousands separator. And for the data source, it's utilized the SUMIFS formula. It was dynamically pulled from the sales data sheet and filtered for UK and Ireland region. It's also giving you some insights here that Berry Bliss has the highest units sold. So this was created without the need for any formulas or functions. So now that we have a chart, what I want to do is I want to create a pivot chart and pivot table utilizing this Copilot space. So click into the Describe what you'd like to create or edit box, and then type in the following prompt. Here is the prompt: create a pivot table summarizing operating profit by Velvet Noir and Midnight Bite brands and region. Then insert a pivot chart that best visualizes the comparison. Now, the reason why I have only included a couple of specific brands is because if we include all brands, the chart may be a little bit unwieldy. Go ahead and pause the video at this point if you need to copy the prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials relevant to this training course. And when you're ready, select the green Send button. As you can see, Copilot has successfully completed the task. It's created a new sheet in the workbook called Brand Profit Pivot. And it's done exactly what I asked it to. It summarized the operating profit for Velvet Noir and Midnight Bite by region. It's also providing information about the pivot chart that it's created. So not only has it completed the task, it's also providing some very useful insights. Now heading back to the sales data sheet, if I come out of the agent mode, if you don't have agent mode, you can still utilize Copilot to create charts and pivot charts. It's just done a little bit differently. So click into the message Copilot box and enter the following prompt. Here is a prompt: create a chart showing the average sales of chocolate for the France region. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to copy that prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials, and when you're ready, select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task and it's created the chart showing the average chocolate sales for the France region, and we can see what the chart represents. This provides options to copy the chart. So if I clicked on copy, I could paste that into a Word document, for example. You also have the option to download a copy of the chart, or you could click on the Add to New Sheet button to add the chart to a brand new sheet. Let's go ahead and select the button. And as you can see, here is the average chocolate net sales by month for France. And if you scroll down a little bit further, you can see information about how this is useful. And Copilot is making some further suggestions about making refinements. For example, it can adjust this to include the average sales by channel, for example, grocery or online. And you can see at the bottom some further suggestions in terms of the buttons. So if you wanted to compare chocolate sales in France and Germany, you could just select the button. It'll instantly add the prompt, and then you could send that off by clicking the green button. And actually, Germany is included in the DACH region. So here's a brand new chart comparing the sales for France and DACH. And again, you could download that or copy that and paste it into a Word document. You could also click to add this to a new sheet. And here's the new chart. Now I've come back to the sales data sheet and we'll enter one final prompt by selecting the message Copilot box. And here it is: create a pivot chart to show a comparison of chocolate sales between Nordics and Iberia. Pause the video if you need to copy this prompt or refer to the support materials relevant to the training course. And when you're ready, select the green Send button. Now, in terms of that prompt, you'll notice that Copilot within the message space has not actually physically created the pivot chart like it did with the chart. Instead, it's providing some clear practical steps to create the pivot chart in Excel. So to insert the pivot chart, go ahead and click anywhere in the data, open up the Insert tab ribbon, select Pivot Table, and go ahead and select the option Insert New Sheet. Next, drag region into rows, drag net sales into values. Now select the filter button for region and click on Select All. Scroll down and select Iberia and Nordics, and then select Apply. Go ahead and select region, Iberia, Nordics and sum of sales. Open up the Insert tab ribbon and select Recommended Charts. From the recommended charts available, go ahead and select the first chart that appears. So click on the Insert Pivot Chart button. Close down the Charts panel, and then if we just click on the chart, hold down the Shift key, click and drag a corner and make it larger. Welcome to this video tutorial where we're going to be taking a look at how you can format columns, rows and cells by using in-app Copilot within Excel. Let's go and take a look. And so I've opened up the Choco Nova 2025 sales spreadsheet, and you may notice that something has happened to the data. We have many columns here that we cannot see clearly. The headings are not very clear as well. Now we could simply auto-fit all of these columns. So I could drag my mouse across all of these columns, and if I hover the mouse in between any of those columns and double click with the left mouse button, as you can see, it will automatically auto-fit all of the columns. However, let's utilize Copilot to do the same thing. Click on the Copilot icon in the top right-hand corner of your Home tab ribbon, and this will open up your Copilot panel. Now, in order to make direct changes to the spreadsheet, you will need to open up Copilot Agent Mode by selecting the Tools menu within the Message Copilot box. If you have an in-app Copilot license for Excel, and your IT team has enabled Agent Mode, go ahead and select it. Once Agent Mode is enabled, go ahead and select the Describe what you'd like to edit box and enter the following prompt. Adjust all column widths so the full column names and values are visible. If you need to pause the video at this point to copy that prompt, go ahead. Otherwise, refer to the support materials relevant to this training course. And when you're ready, go ahead and select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and if we take a look, it's giving some information as well, talking about what it has done. So all of those columns, as you can clearly see, have been nicely readjusted and auto-fitted so that we can view the data. The next task for Copilot will be to change all of the columns with currency to pounds, so from euros to pounds. And so what I've done is selected all of those columns that I want to change from euros into pounds. Then I'm going to select the Describe what you'd like to edit with Copilot box. Here is the prompt. Format these columns as British pounds with 1000 separators and no decimal places. Pause the video at this point if you need to copy this prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials relevant to the training course. And when you're ready, select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and if we take a look here, it's giving an overview of what it has done. And then if you look at the spreadsheet, we can see here clearly pound signs instead of euros. The only adjustment that we do need to make is to change the bracketed EUR into the pound symbol. With that in mind, I've entered a new prompt, which is edit each heading highlighted to change EUR to the pound symbol. Pause the video if you need to copy that prompt. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials. When you're ready, select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and it's giving an overview of what it's done, and we can clearly see now that the heading text has been nicely updated. And just looking at the header, which is row 1, we could really do with making this stand out more. Of course, we could select the row and select B to embolden the text, and that would embolden the headings. But what I'm going to do is select the Describe what you'd like to create or edit box. We still have Agent Mode enabled, and I'm going to enter a new prompt. Here is the prompt. Format the header row so that it stands out clearly from the data. Pause the video if you need to copy that prompt. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials. And when you're ready, select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and it's telling us what it's done. It's providing details there of what formatting actions have been applied. And you'll notice that currently the panel is quite thin. So what you can do is click on the line and drag the panel to make it wider. So here we can see that it's made the font size larger, the darker blue background with a white font color. Just going to collapse that down a little bit again. Now you may be able to see here that month is not visible. So if we just tweak the column width, we'll be able to read the text more clearly. There is a little bit of a contrast there with the very dark blue and the white text inside the sheet. So we'll explore how we can make improvements to the overall data visually. I'm going to click into the Describe what you'd like to create or edit box and enter a new prompt. Here is the prompt. Apply alternate row shading to the data and improve the visual look of the entire sheet and improve accessibility. Go ahead and pause the video at this point if you need to copy that prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials. And when you're ready, select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and as you can see, it's provided an overview of the enhancements that it's made. Once again, we can just extend the panel if you want to be able to clearly read the table that it's added there into the panel. It's made several improvements. For example, it's increased the row height to 20 points for better readability. It's frozen the header so that it stays visible when you scroll down the spreadsheet. It's also made changes to the font colors. In terms of accessibility improvements, here it's provided high contrast between the headers, alternating row colors, consistent alignment and adequate row height. And if you take a look at the spreadsheet, it does look more visually appealing now. I'm going to readjust the panel and fit it back to the same width that it was before. The next thing I want to do is format individual columns and rows to apply some conditional formatting. In order to do that, I'm going to select the Describe what you'd like to create or edit box and enter a new prompt. Here is the prompt: highlight rows where net sales are above £400 within column G only. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to copy this prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials, and when you're ready, select the green send button. Copilot has completed the task, and as you can see, it's clearly highlighted all of the rows where the value is over £400, highlighted by a green background. We scroll down a little bit further and adjust the panel slightly. You can clearly see what Copilot has done. The next thing that I'd like to do is focus on column B, where we can see month 1, month 2, month 3. I'd like to change this number to the abbreviation of the month name. For example, Jan, Feb, Mar. Let's go ahead and select the describe what you'd like to create or edit box and enter a new prompt. Here is the prompt: change the content of cells from column B from the month number to the abbreviation of the month name. For example, Jan, Feb. Pause the video at this point if you need to copy the prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials, and when you're ready, select the green send button. As you can see, Copilot has completed the task. If we scroll down, it's providing an overview of the action that it has taken. We can clearly see that this is correct. So all 4,800 data rows in column B have been updated from numeric month values to their corresponding month abbreviations. And finally, I'm just going to tell you about some best practices that may be of value to you. Try to ensure that you always provide context for Copilot, either by selecting the data that you want in your spreadsheet, like a column or row. Otherwise, make sure that you enter a description within the prompt, such as the previous prompt where I was referencing column B. Use Copilot to handle consistency across your data sets. And in addition, use Copilot to refine the data. If you don't have Agent Mode available within in-app Copilot, we're going to explore what happens if you enter the similar prompts without it. Within the Message Copilot box and a brand new chat, I'm going to add in all of the prompts that we've already explored. Here is the prompt: please make the following adjustments to the sheet. These are all of the previous adjustments that we've already explored with Agent Mode. And I'm also asking there in the prompt if Copilot can produce a downloadable file. Pause the video at this point if you need to copy that prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials. And when you're ready, select the green send button. Copilot has completed the task, and it's talking about all of the different things that it has done. And then it's provided a downloadable formatted Excel file. Let's go ahead and select the link to open up the file, and then click on Open File. Next, select the Enable Editing button at the top. And as you can see, Copilot has successfully completed the task. The only remaining thing that I'd be inclined to do is just adjust the widths of some of these column headings so that we can clearly read them. To do that, go ahead and click and drag across all of your columns to select them at the same time, and then just double click in between one of the columns. So you can see if you roll the mouse in between J and K and then double click, you can auto fit all of those column headings. Welcome to the tutorial video, and in this video we're going to be exploring how you can apply conditional formatting by using Microsoft Copilot. Let's go and take a look. In this video we're going to look at applying conditional formatting and exploring two approaches, one using Agent Mode with Copilot and another which does not use Agent Mode. Open up your Copilot panel by selecting the Copilot link in the top right hand side of your Home tab ribbon. And conditional formatting is helpful for a number of reasons. It can help to give you visual signs to spot high sales, low margins, and also risks and opportunities. So to start with, I'm going to select column O by clicking on it to highlight that column. Then I'm going to click into the Describe what you want to edit with Copilot box and enter a new prompt. Here is the prompt: highlight margins below 15% in red. Pause the video if you need to copy that prompt or refer to the support materials. When you're ready, go ahead and select the green send button. Now, as you can see, because we're not in Agent Mode, Copilot can't actually do that for us. So instead, it's provided instructions on how to do that. From the Home tab ribbon, open up the Conditional Formatting menu, hover over Highlight Cell Rules, and then click on Less Than. Then type in the percentage, which is 15%. Make sure you include the percentage symbol, and then go ahead and click on OK. And now we can clearly see the conditionally formatted column for operating margin. Next, I'm going to show you how you can do this utilizing agent mode. So go ahead and open up the conditional formatting menu, make sure O is selected, head to the bottom, hover the mouse over clear rules and select clear rules from selected cells. Once you've done that, go ahead and select the Tools button in the Message Copilot box and select Agent Mode. This has opened up the previous chat that we were having in Agent Mode, so I'm going to click on the green button to start a new chat. Click into the Describe what you'd like to create or edit box and enter the same prompt. Once you've done that, go ahead and click the green Send button. As you can see, Copilot Agent Mode has completed the task and it's highlighted those margins below 15% in red. Next, we'll close down Agent Mode by clicking on the cross, and we've navigated back to our previous chat. This time I'm going to select the gross margin column and I'm going to enter a new prompt to add some conditional formatting for this column. Click into Message Copilot and enter the following prompt. Here is the prompt: apply a color scale to show low to high gross margin. Pause the video at this point if you need to copy that prompt or refer to the support materials relevant to the training course. When you're ready, go ahead and select the green Send button. And because we're not in agent mode, Copilot isn't able to actually do that to the data, so instead it's provided instructions on how we can achieve that. We've already got the column selected, so head up to the conditional formatting drop-down menu, hover over the color scales menu and choose a relevant color scale, for example green, yellow, red color scale. And as you can see, Excel has automatically shaded each cell based on its relative value in the column. If I just come out of the selection, then we can see that the higher amounts are represented by the green color and lower amounts represented by a red color. The next thing that we're going to do is highlight column I once more, head up to the conditional formatting menu, hover over clear rules and select clear rules from selected cells. That clears the rules, and then what we can do is we can open up the Copilot Agent Mode. Go ahead and select Tools and then select Agent Mode. Now what I'm going to do is select the green button to enable a new chat with Agent Mode, and I'm going to enter a new prompt. Here is the prompt: apply a color scale to show low to high gross margin. This time I've entered some extra text, which is ensure there is a clear differentiation between low and high. Pause the video if you need to copy the prompt or refer to the support materials. When you're ready, select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and if we scroll down a little bit, it also provides a very useful key indicating what the colors mean. So the lowest gross margin is indicated by red, yellow is a middle or medium gross margin value, and green indicates the highest gross margin values. So the next thing I'm going to do is come out of agent mode once more by clicking the cross to exit agent mode. This time I'm going to select the Message Copilot box and enter a new prompt. Here is the prompt: highlight all of the Hazel Kiss brands in the sheet by using highlight cell rules and text that contains. Pause the video if you need to copy the prompt, otherwise refer to the support materials. When you're ready, select the green Send button. Copilot has completed the task and it's providing step-by-step instructions on how you can achieve that. So we'll select the brand column, open up the conditional formatting menu, hover over highlight cell rules, and then select text that contains. Next, we enter the name of the brand, which is Hazel Kiss. Then we'll use the drop-down menu, and this time we'll select customized format. Then we'll open up the Fill tab and select a light blue color. When you've done that, select OK and select OK again. Clicking away from the selection, we can clearly see Hazel Kiss is now highlighted by conditional formatting. And the next thing we're going to do is remove that so that I can show you how to do that in agent mode. So select column D, open up conditional formatting, clear rules and clear rules from selected cells. Next, click on the Tools icon in the Message Copilot box and enable Agent Mode. And what I'm going to do is start a brand new chat with Agent. And as you can see, I've entered a new prompt into the chat space. Highlight all of the Hazel Kiss brands in the sheet with a light blue color only for column D. The reason why I've added that further information is because Copilot would likely highlight all of the Hazel kisses, such as 18, 19, 20, and 21, but it would also highlight all of the other rows in blue as well. So we want to make it specific for column D. Pause the video if you need to copy the prompt, otherwise refer to the support materials for the training course. When you're ready, select the green send button. And as you can see, Copilot has successfully completed the task. I'm going to now stick with Agent Mode because there are some other things that I want to demonstrate. And the next prompt is going to help us to identify low and high performing products. Here is the new prompt, which has helped me identify high performing and low performing products using conditional formatting. Pause the video at this point if you need to copy that prompt or refer to the support materials. When you're ready, select the green send button. Copilot has completed the task, and as you can see, it has reasoned 2 steps and applied conditional formatting to help identify high performing and low performing products. Now I'm just going to extend the panel by clicking here and dragging across so that we can view the information more clearly. Here's what it has applied conditional formatting for net sales, and here is a color legend which describes what each color relates to, and also information at the bottom in terms of how to interpret the conditional formatting. Welcome to the video tutorial where we're going to be talking about how you can utilize in-app Copilot within Microsoft PowerPoint. Let's go and take a look. Firstly, we're going to take a look at what in-app Copilot is in terms of PowerPoint. So Copilot lives directly inside PowerPoint itself. It doesn't work from the browser, and it's not the Copilot chat space. And for in-app Copilot within PowerPoint, you can use this to help create and refine slides. Copilot can also help to create slides from a prompt. You can use it to turn ideas or documents into a presentation, and you can also rewrite and refine content. And finally, improve structure, flow, and clarity. In terms of where Copilot appears in PowerPoint, as soon as you open up PowerPoint, Copilot presents itself and you can use it to create a new slide. In terms of where Copilot appears in PowerPoint, when you first start up the program, Copilot will be available to help you to create your presentation. Let's take a quick look. If you open up PowerPoint, then you'll be greeted with the following block, which is Create with Copilot. And clicking on this will open up the Copilot prompt where you can create a presentation about any subject and reference up to 5 files from your OneDrive. When you start a new presentation, Copilot will be directly available from your Home tab ribbon. And clicking on the Copilot icon will activate the Copilot panel on the right-hand side of your presentation. Let's take a quick look. Here is my presentation. If I navigate across the Home tab ribbon, I can select the Copilot icon, and that will open up the Copilot panel. And Copilot is directly available above your slides. So above your slides, you'll have an icon which you can click to activate Copilot. Let's take a quick look. So I'm back into my presentation, and you'll see there's an icon here. Clicking on this icon will activate a menu list of items related to Copilot. And the Design Suggestions tool is additionally powered by Copilot and available from your Home tab ribbon. So if you need some design suggestions, this is a very useful tool. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is how you can sync to your OneDrive and why this is important. So if you sync up OneDrive with your PowerPoint presentation, Copilot will be able to work directly with your organization's files. And by connecting to OneDrive, your presentations will automatically be saved to the cloud. And Copilot connects seamlessly with your content, and you can use this to utilize that content for additional slides or brand new presentations. Let's go and take a look how you can sync up PowerPoint to your OneDrive. First thing to do is open up PowerPoint and then select Account in the bottom left-hand corner. If you're not logged into your account, you'll need to select Sign In, enter your email credentials, then enter your password. Once you've entered your password, select Sign In. Once you've signed in, it should automatically connect up to your OneDrive services. If not, select the Add Service button, hover the mouse over Storage, and select OneDrive Work/School. Then go ahead and sign in. Welcome to video tutorial Create a Presentation from a Prompt, utilizing in-app Copilot within PowerPoint. Let's go and take a look. I've opened up a blank presentation within PowerPoint, and one of the biggest time savers in terms of using Copilot for PowerPoint is the ability to create an entire presentation from a single prompt. Instead of starting with a blank slide and thinking, where do I even start? Copilot can create a structured first draft in seconds. So with that in mind, go ahead and open up the Copilot panel by selecting the Copilot icon in the top right-hand corner of the Home tab ribbon. And then click into the message Copilot box and enter the following prompt. Here is the prompt: create a 6-slide presentation for senior managers explaining our 2026 digital transformation strategy. Pause the video if you need to copy this prompt or refer to the support materials. And when you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task, so let's explore the result. And it's saying there is a clean, executive-ready 6-slide draft that we can use. Let's scroll down a bit further. Now it's talking about slide 1, the Digital Transformation Executive Overview. This includes the purpose and what's different in 2026. Scrolling further down, for slide 2, it's talking about the strategic objectives of the digital transformation. Slide 3 talks about the core transformation pillars, including data and analytics, AI enablement, and cloud and engineering foundations. Scrolling down to slide 4, this is talking about governance, security, and risk, and providing some information about why this matters. Scrolling down to slide 5, this includes the delivery and adoption roadmap for 2026. It's talking about the phased approach and the outcomes. And finally, with slide 6, it's talking about what senior leadership needs to decide, including key decisions and next steps. At the bottom, it's asking if we'd like this to be tailored, so it could rewrite this to match my organization's language and tone, or turn this into one-page executive summary. And the final bullet point is saying directly convert this into actual PowerPoint slides with speaker notes. I think that is something that I would like to do. So I'm going to highlight this bullet point with my mouse, hold down the Control key on the keyboard and press C. That will copy this bullet point. Click into Message Copilot, hold down the Control key and then press V for paste. And if you need to pause the video at this point, please do so. Otherwise, refer to the support materials. And when you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and as you can see, it's provided a link here which we can click on. And what happens when you select the link, it will directly open up the presentation in your browser. Here is PowerPoint Online, and here is the presentation, as you can see. Now, although this looks a little bit plain, do remember this is a first draft. One thing to take note of is that this presentation has been saved directly into my OneDrive. So requesting that downloadable file actually creates the file within your OneDrive. Welcome to video tutorial Create a Presentation from a Prompt, utilizing in-app Copilot within PowerPoint. Let's go and take a look. I've opened up a blank presentation within PowerPoint, and one of the biggest time savers in terms of using Copilot for PowerPoint is the ability to create an entire presentation from a single prompt. Instead of starting with a blank slide and thinking, where do I even start? Copilot can create a structured first draft in seconds. So with that in mind, go ahead and open up the Copilot panel by selecting the Copilot icon in the top right-hand corner of the Home tab ribbon. And then click into the message Copilot box and enter the following prompt. Here is the prompt: create a 6-slide presentation for senior managers explaining our 2026 digital transformation strategy. Pause the video if you need to copy this prompt or refer to the support materials, and when you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task, so let's explore the result. And it's saying there is a clean, executive-ready 6-slide draft that we can use. Let's scroll down a bit further. Now it's talking about slide 1, the Digital Transformation Executive Overview. This includes the purpose and what's different in 2026. Scrolling further down, for slide 2, it's talking about the strategic objectives of the digital transformation. Slide 3 talks about the core transformation pillars, including data and analytics, AI enablement, and cloud and engineering foundations. Scrolling down to slide 4, this is talking about governance, security, and risk, and providing some information about why this matters. Scrolling down to slide 5, this includes the delivery and adoption roadmap for 2026. It's talking about the phased approach and the outcomes. And finally, with slide 6, it's talking about what senior leadership needs to decide, including key decisions and next steps. At the bottom, it's asking if we'd like this to be tailored, so it could rewrite this to match my organization's language and tone, or turn this into a one-page executive summary. And the final bullet point is saying directly convert this into actual PowerPoint slides with speaker notes. I think that is something that I would like to do. So I'm going to highlight this bullet point with my mouse, hold down the Control key on the keyboard and press C. That will copy this bullet point. Click into Message Copilot, hold down the Control key and then press V for paste. And if you need to pause the video at this point, please do so. Otherwise, refer to the support materials. And when you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and as you can see, it's provided a link here which we can click on. And what happens when you select the link, it will directly open up the presentation in your browser. Here is PowerPoint Online, and here is the presentation, as you can see. Now, although this looks a little bit plain, do remember this is a first draft. One thing to take note of is that this presentation has been saved directly into my OneDrive. So requesting that downloadable file actually creates the file within your OneDrive. Welcome to the video tutorial. In this video, we're going to be focusing on how you can create slides from ideas or documents by utilizing in-app Copilot within PowerPoint. Let's go and take a look. The first thing you need to do is open up Microsoft PowerPoint, the desktop application, then select Blank Presentation. Next, I'm going to open up the Copilot button, which is above the blank slide. Here you will have a number of options, which include creating a new presentation with a file, adding a slide, adding a topic, summarizing the presentation, translating the presentation, or Ask Copilot. Asking Copilot will trigger the Copilot panel to pop up on the right-hand side of the screen. We're going to select Create a New Presentation. This will open up the following window, which prompts you to add a new prompt for Create a Presentation About. I'm going to enter a prompt. Here it is, create a 6-slide presentation explaining our new customers' onboarding process. The audience is new employees. Keep the tone professional but simple. So here I'm starting something with ideas only, which proposes a slide structure, creates the slide titles, and adds starter content for each slide. Pause the video if you need to copy that prompt. Otherwise, refer to the support materials. When you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task and it's recommending some presentation styles. You can also select Show All to reveal further styles. And if you like one of those styles, go ahead and select it. I'm going to select Portal. If you keep scrolling down, you can change the source from AI generated images to stock images by clicking on the menu option. If you do choose AI generated images, you can also select whether you would like that to be retro print style, flat design, or isometric 3D, for example. I'm going to leave that set to suggested and then select the Generate Slides button. Copilot has completed the task. If you like what you see, you can choose to keep this. If you don't like this, you can select the bin to discard it. If you navigate to a different menu, this box at the bottom will disappear and assume that you want to keep the slides. I'm going to go ahead and select the orange box. And to view these more clearly, I'm going to open up the View tab ribbon and switch to Normal View. Now, whilst these slides don't look particularly impressive, Think of this as your first draft. And if I navigate back to the Home tab ribbon, you could always open up Copilot menu, create a brand new presentation. You can add further slides to this presentation or topics. Additionally, you could open up the Ask Copilot panel and enter a new prompt to message Copilot. Alternatively, there is the Design Suggestions button next to the Copilot button. If you open that one up, this is powered by Copilot and it will make some design suggestions. Next, we're going to explore how you can create PowerPoint slides and presentations by utilizing existing documents from your OneDrive. Go ahead and select the button above your first slide and select Create a new presentation with File. And a Copilot window will pop up prompting you to select a document. Now, if you can't find the document, just start typing a reference to the file. I've typed in AI High, and that's pulled up the deployment plan. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Here is the prompt: create 6 slides explaining how the AI High Powered Hub works. Include an agenda and key findings. This is for a prospective client. When you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task, so it's just a case of selecting the presentation style, or you can select the suggested option here and then click on Generate New Presentation. Copilot has completed the task. Next, select the Keep It button. Then we will navigate to the View tab ribbon and switch from Slide Sorter to Normal View. And this is what Copilot has come up with. And obviously there's some information to add into these slides, but it's a very good starting point in terms of a first draft. Welcome to the tutorial where we're going to be focusing on controlling structure and flow by utilizing in-app Copilot within Microsoft PowerPoint. Let's go and take a look. Now, one of the biggest problems with presentation isn't the design, it's the structure. Slides can often be in the wrong order, ideas may repeat themselves, or the story just does not flow the way you want it to. Let's go ahead and utilize in-app Copilot in PowerPoint to help us to control structure and flow in the presentation to tell a clearer story from start to finish. Go ahead and open your Copilot panel by selecting the Copilot icon in the top right-hand corner of your Home tab ribbon. Click into Message Copilot and enter the following prompt. Review this presentation and suggest improvements to the overall structure and flow. Pause the video if you need to copy the prompt or refer to the support materials. And when you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task and it's provided a focused review of the presentation. If we scroll down, point 1 is talking about strengthening the narrative arc, why, what, how, with impact. Copilot starts by highlighting what works now. For example, the presentation clearly explains what customer onboarding is and why it matters. And also key concepts for journey, roles, and benefits. Scrolling a bit further down, Copilot is making some suggestions for improvement. So it's saying you might want to reframe the deck so it follows a clearer story progression, why onboarding matters, what the onboarding journey looks like, how we deliver it, and what success looks like. Then Copilot is making a suggestion about how to apply this. Moving down to point 2, this is talking about refining the opening, make the first 2 slides do more work. So it's making suggestions for slide 1 in terms of adding a short outcome-driven subheading. Moving down to slide 2, the agenda, it's telling us what it currently reads as, and then making suggestions for improvement. Slide 3 and slide 4, improve transitions between conceptual slides and more suggestions on how to improve that. Point 4 is talking about reduce redundancy and tighten messaging with a focus on slide 4. Once more, it's making some suggestions to make some improvements to that slide. Point 5 is talking about clarifying steps versus roles to avoid cognitive overload. Then it's focusing on slide 5 and once again providing some useful suggestions on how you can improve the slide. Section 6 is talking about strengthening the conclusion with a clear call to action. Then it's focusing on slide 6 and making further suggestions on how this can be improved. Scrolling down to point 7, this is talking about the overall flow summary with quick wins. So some high impact improvements such as clarify the agenda and opening hook. Paragraph here is saying these changes don't require new content, just better sequencing and emphasis. Another useful prompt may include the following. So click into Message Copilot, suggest a better slide order to improve the logical flow for a business audience. Pause the video if you need to copy this prompt, otherwise refer to the support materials. And when you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task. If we scroll down, take a look at the results. It's recommending slide order, business first logic. This is talking about title and purpose. Why first sets the context and establishes the topic clearly for senior or time-pressed audiences. Point 2 is talking about why customer onboarding matters. It's saying this is currently embedded in slide 4, and it's telling us why it thinks this should be moved to be made more early. The agenda, what we'll cover. This is currently slide 2 and refined. The overview of the customer onboarding journey, and this is currently slide 4 and why it's there. Moving to point 5, key onboarding steps. And this is part of slide 5. Point 6, employee roles and responsibilities. This is currently slide 5. And conclusion and takeaway is slide 6. So then it's talking about why this order works better for business audiences. And alternatively, if you didn't want to manually change things, you always have the option to ask Copilot to reproduce your PowerPoint as a new PowerPoint. I'm just going to collapse the Copilot panel by clicking on Close and highlight the Copilot button above slide 1. If I click onto the button, you also have an option which is Summarize this presentation. We'll go ahead and select that. You'll notice that Copilot panel immediately opens up with the prompt Summarize this presentation. And this provides an overall summary of your presentation, which might help to give you some ideas in terms of the things that you might need to improve. And to summarize, use Copilot to review the overall structure as we have just done, improve the slide order and sequencing, tighten individual slides, and introduce clear sections. Welcome to the video tutorial where we're going to be exploring how you can refine slides and content, including rewriting slide text using in-app Copilot within Microsoft PowerPoint. Let's go and take a look. I've come into PowerPoint and I've opened up my Optimizing Onboarding with AI Hub presentation, which I used Copilot to previously create. Now, although the messaging is generally strong throughout, some of the slides here are a little too wordy and repetitive, so they need to be adapted for different audiences. Rather than rewriting everything manual, we'll use Copilot to polish, simplify and strengthen the language whilst keeping the original intent. I think the title slide is actually fine, so I'm going to head down to slide 2. This is the customer onboarding journey. We can see we've got quite a big title with just a couple of bullet points, key steps and roles. So I think we'll utilize Copilot to try and make the message clearer for this presentation. Click on the Copilot icon in the top right-hand corner of your Home tab ribbon, select the Message Copilot box and enter the following prompt. Rewrite this slide to make the message clearer for the presentation. Pause the video if you need to copy that prompt, otherwise refer to the support materials and when you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task. Let's review the results. And just scrolling down, it's providing a clear structured view of how customers move from sign up to value. So instead of only having a large title with a couple of bullet points, it's making a suggestion to include these key focus areas. So what we're going to do is click and drag across all of the content from the key focus areas. Hold down the Control key on the keyboard and press C to copy. Highlight the bullet points, right-click with your mouse and select Keep Text Only from the available paste options. And you'll see that the text has been pasted in. We need to make some manual changes to this text. So what we're going to do is click on the little pencil icon underneath and we'll select Make It a List. It's almost there, but instead of a numbered list, I'd like that to be bullet points. So I've entered the following prompt within Copilot box here. Change the numbered list to bullet points. Pause the video if you need to copy that prompt, otherwise refer to the support materials. When you're ready, select the arrow. And here we can see Copilot has completed the task. go ahead and select the Keep It button. I'm just going to add a space underneath and we'll expand the box. Next, we're going to move on to slide 4, which is empowering organizations with AI. Now, whilst the slide is packed with strong value statements, the descriptions are a little bit long and this risks overwhelming the audience. Let's select the Message Copilot box and enter a new prompt to improve the slide. Here is the prompt: rewrite this section to be shorter and more impactful for a client-facing presentation. Pause the video if you need to copy that prompt or refer to the support materials. And when you're ready, go ahead and click on the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task and it's providing a shorter, more impactful rewrite of slide 4. So what we can do is highlight the first little paragraph, hold down Control and press C, click into your presentation, highlight the text, right mouse click and select Keep Text Only. Go ahead and copy the other sections and add those into your slide as well. And a final task, I think, is to edit the title. So go ahead and click into the title, select the pencil icon and select the option which is Condense. Whilst Copilot has completed the task, the letters are no longer capitalized. So click into What Should Copilot Change and enter the following prompt. Here is the short prompt: capitalize every letter. Then go ahead and select the right hand arrow. Then go ahead and select the Keep It button. Moving on to slide 7, we can see here in the notes there is quite a lot of text. It's well structured, but the explanation is a little bit long. So we'll utilize Copilot to replace the text here in the notes area. Click into Message Copilot and enter the following prompt. Rewrite this explanation to be clearer and easier to present verbally. Pause the video if you need to copy that prompt or refer to the support materials. When you're ready, select the orange Send button. Go ahead and select the suggested text that it's offering here. Hold down Control and press C. Come into your notes area, hold down Control and press V, and then just make some adjustments in terms of spacing to make it easier to read. And we'll navigate straight to the conclusion slide next, and we'll utilize Copilot to make some improvements on this slide. Click into Message Copilot and enter the following prompt. Rewrite this conclusion to be shorter and more impactful. Pause the video if you need to copy that prompt or refer to the support materials. When you're ready, select the orange Send button. Go ahead and copy the suggested text by holding down Control and pressing C. Come into the notes and then hold down Control and press V. All that remains is just to tidy up the notes a little bit. So I'm going to add a space underneath the title and also another space when there's a new sentence. So you can utilize Copilot within slides, within placeholders, and it's great for refining content, for simplifying it, or for removing duplications, or adjusting the tone for different audiences. Welcome to the tutorial where we're going to be looking at how you can create PowerPoint templates by utilizing in-app Copilot within Microsoft PowerPoint. Let's go and take a look. For this video, I have opened up the Creating PowerPoint Slides presentation example. You can see here it's about optimizing onboarding with AI Hub. Now, before we start talking about creating PowerPoint templates with Copilot, I want to draw your attention to Slide Master. Slide Master is found by going to the View tab ribbon and then selecting Slide Master from the Master Views group. Within Slide Master, this will effectively control the back end of your PowerPoint slides. And the very top slide here is the Master Title slide. So that controls all of the content from the other slides you can see here as I'm running my mouse down. That means that you can configure things like font styles, font sizes and colors for all of the slides. So if I added a dark background for the master title slide, that would flow down to all of the other slides. So if you're creating PowerPoint templates and you want to make that available for colleagues, it's a very good idea to set up your slide master appropriately. The next slide down is the title slide. So as the name suggests, that would be used to create a main title. The next one down is a section layout style slide. The next one is an agenda layout. And the most commonly used slide is the content and title slide. And as you can see, this is being used by 1 to 10 of the slides within this actual presentation. Underneath that, there are some variations of a photo type layout with photo 1 and photo 2. So this is quite a simple example of how you might set up your slide master. Now just keep in mind, if you create a PowerPoint presentation with Copilot, the slide master will be very extensive. So you'll have something between 20, 30 or even 40 different layout styles available. So in this example, the slides and layouts have been significantly reduced to reflect what you would likely want to do in terms of creating a template utilizing Slide Master. So here are the slides. I'm going to close Master View down, and next, to create a template, I'm going to select the Copilot button above the slide, and then I'm going to select Create a New Presentation. So in the Create a Presentation About box, I'm going to type and describe a presentation which is quite different from the one that we can see here about an AI hub. And here is the prompt: create a presentation about a new car design being launched at a major car show. Pause the video if you need to copy the prompt, otherwise refer to the support materials, and when you're ready, select the orange Send button. Copilot has completed the task, and you'll notice that the recommended template is pre-selected, as you can see. Leave this set as it is, then scroll down and choose whether you'd like to have AI generated images, or if you click here, you can select stock images. If you do go with AI generated images, you can pick from one of these separate style options. Otherwise, leave that set to suggested and then click on the Generate New Presentation button. Copilot has completed the task, and we're seeing the slides in sort of view mode. If you want to view these more clearly, you can open up the View tab ribbon and select the normal view. So here is the car presentation. Now my initial first impressions are that we'd need to make some changes to these slides to improve the imagery, the wording, and refine them significantly. But nevertheless, this is a new presentation about a car show. And what you'll notice, if you open up the View tab ribbon and select Slide Master, you'll see that the exact same layout slides are here and available as per the previous presentation that we utilized. So if you want to create a new template using PowerPoint, it's a good idea to start off with a template where you have honed the slides within Slide Master that you'd like to have and make available for other colleagues if they wanted to access the same presentation. As you can see, here are the layouts that have been created within Slide Master for the previous presentation. And just to summarize, if you were to create a new presentation from scratch utilizing Copilot from a blank canvas, it will likely create for you 30 or 40 different layout designs within Slide Master. If you do utilize that method to create your initial presentation, if you then want to create a template, what I would suggest that you do is you make sure that you hone those slide layouts within Slide Master, and then you can create your PowerPoint presentation template. Now, in terms of actually creating a PowerPoint template, once you're happy with the design and Slide Master and all the layouts, head to the File menu, go ahead and select Save a Copy. Select whether you want to use your OneDrive or a separate location by going to Browse. Open up the drop-down and select the option for PowerPoint Template. Then when you're ready, select the Save button. Now just be aware that the location of where your PowerPoint template will be saved is going to be different to where you would normally expect it to be saved. So if you want to set that location, go to the File menu, select Options, open up Save, and here you'll be able to see the location of the default personal templates. Now if you choose to share a PowerPoint template with your colleagues, what will happen is if they open that PowerPoint template, it will create a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, and then they will be expected to utilize the provided layouts and not redesign the slides or overwrite the formatting. Welcome to this tutorial video, and in this video we're going to be covering where Copilot appears in Word. Let's get started. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is open up Microsoft Word, the desktop application. And if you do likewise, you may well experience the same pop-up window that appears, which is encouraging you to sign in. So if you see this message, make sure you select the blue Sign In button and then enter your account credentials. Make sure that you enter your work email and then click on the Next button and then enter your password. Now that you're signed in, you can check your credentials by selecting the Account button in the bottom left-hand side. This will show your user information and your connected services to OneDrive. Should you wish to connect an additional service, select the Add Service drop-down, and if that was additional storage, just hover over the Storage menu and select the relevant storage item, for example, OneDrive Personal. Next, I'm going to select the New button, and then I'm going to click on the blank document. In terms of where Copilot appears in Word, if you look above the page, you can see a Describe what you'd like to draft with Copilot box. So if you select the box, you can see the cursor flashing inside. Now you can add a suitable prompt for Copilot. The other space it appears is in the top right-hand corner. You can see here in the toolbar, there's a link to Copilot. Just click on that one and it will open up the Copilot panel. Another place where Copilot will appear is inside your document. As you can see, there's some text here which I've used Copilot to create. And if we just highlight that, you can see that the pop-up box that appears here presents you with a Copilot button. And if you click on the Copilot button with the text selected, it will open up the following menu options. So you could choose to auto rewrite the text, update the text and keep the formatting, fix the spelling and grammar, look at structure and refine, make it shorter, make it more formal. There's also a link to writing suggestions. You can visualize this as a table. There's an option to chat with Copilot, and this will open up the Copilot panel on the right-hand side. Returning back to the Copilot menu, if you have a microphone, you can also start dictation by clicking on the microphone icon. And if you want to use Copilot to analyze a single sentence, click into the sentence and then click on the pencil icon. This pops up a smaller box where you can describe what you'd like to edit in that sentence. There are also options for structure and refine, insert a summary, and then again, chat with Copilot. Now I've switched to the online space. So if you'd like to do the same, head to m365.cloud.microsoft or www.office.com. And I'm going to head to the apps link here and then select the option to open up Word in my browser. This will open up Word in a separate browser tab. And the next thing I'm going to do is select Create Blank Document. Now, many of the features in terms of Copilot contrasting with the desktop application are the same. I just want to show you some other features as well where you can find Copilot. And if I head back to the document I created in the desktop application for Word, I'm going to select the text and copy it. So right mouse click and select copy or Control+C. Then I'm going to open up my blank document in the browser and I'm going to paste the content over into here. So you can do that by holding down Control and pressing V for the shortcut, or you can use the right mouse click and select paste. So I've successfully pasted the text, as you can see, in the document. And you'll also notice there's a control button here. If you click on that, it will open up some further options. And you can see here the Transform with Copilot section. You can choose to write a prompt, auto rewrite, visualize as a table, or select Get Coaching. And the other features are exactly the same otherwise. So if I select the cursor on a particular sentence, again, we can select the Draft with Copilot option. I can also drag across text and then select the Copilot button. You can see the same options appear here. You also have the Copilot panel, which you can open up by selecting the Copilot button. Welcome to this tutorial video where we'll be looking at typical use cases and limitations in terms of utilizing Copilot within Microsoft Word. In terms of typical use cases, Copilot can generate full drafts from just a prompt. Some examples include essays, reports, plans, or cover letters. It can also help to rewrite and edit existing content. It can rewrite selected text to make it clearer, shorter, longer, more professional or more casual, depending on the tone that you'd like. And you can also use it to improve clarity without manually rewriting the text. Copilot can help to summarize documents or sections, and this is particularly useful for summarizing long reports, meeting notes, or essays. And you can use Copilot to extract key points and also quickly understand large volumes of text. Copilot can also help within Microsoft Word to create tables and transform them. So you can create tables from a prompt. You can convert highlighted text into a table to visualize it as a table, and you can summarize the content of a table. You can use Copilot to propose ideas and take a look at key points and structure. So this can help in terms of creating headline options, section titles, bullet point summaries, and structural outlines. So this is great for early stage planning or reframing a document. In addition, it can be used to answer questions about the document. So for example, things like who is the target audience for this document? What are the main themes? And this is useful when reviewing someone else's work or revisiting a detailed draft. You can also utilize Copilot in Word to suggest creative ideas for content, for example, class activities or ideas lists. Next, we're going to take a look at some of the key limitations related to using Copilot within Microsoft Word. So the first limitation we're taking a look at is the word count processing limits. So typically, Copilot can process around 18,000 to 20,000 words for prompts. Documents that are longer than this may need to be broken into smaller pieces. You may experience some formatting limitations if you try to utilize smart arts, charts, or more complex formatting changes involving headers, fonts, or colors. In terms of summaries, Copilot may miss important details. So it might miss certain nuances with your prompts or detailed information. So this can require a manual review. Tables cannot always be refined. So Copilot sometimes has some issues in terms of going back to a table and editing it or adding to it or modifying it, especially with tables that are previously generated. And the final limitation here is that content will still require human review to check the personal tone. So be prepared to refine the output for accuracy. This leads us on to some best practice tips to help you out in terms of using Copilot within Word. So aim to keep your prompts clear and specific. Utilize Copilot for starting points, not the final document. And then treat Copilot as a co-creator, not an autopilot. So don't just use a prompt to create a document with Copilot and expect it to be the final polished, finished version. Review everything for accuracy and tone. Sometimes Copilot will miss those little nuances, so do make sure that you check everything. And aim to break up those long documents into smaller sections, which will make it easier. Welcome to the training video for creating first drafts from prompts. Let's go and take a look. First thing to do is open up your desktop version of Microsoft Word and then select blank document. And in terms of creating a first draft with Copilot, I'm going to select the describe what you'd like to draft with Copilot box above the page. And this is where we're going to insert a prompt. So keep an eye on the screen and I'm going to add the prompt shortly. At this point, you may want to pause the video so that you can copy the prompt on screen. Otherwise, there will be materials available with prompts should you wish to follow along. And when you've added the prompt, go ahead and select the blue send button. What you may find is that it takes a little bit of time for Copilot to process that and produce the content on screen. When it has finished, it will provide you with an opportunity to choose to keep it. You can regenerate it. You can discard it. You can also select here to edit the prompt, and you can add to the prompt by selecting the area as highlighted on screen. So for example, as it says here, make it formal. So you can fine tune the draft to add some detail to regenerate it. If I click back on the arrow button, I'll go back to the original options. And so if you were creating a draft, I would recommend that you read through it. And if you're then happy with what you can see, select the Keep It button. So this is our first draft document. It's an AI high-powered hub and a comprehensive introduction and strategic overview. Now, if you're happy with this, you can save a copy onto your computer or you can save it to your OneDrive. I'm going to head to File and I'm going to select Save As, and I'm going to save it to my OneDrive. So let's give this a name. I'm going to call this the AI Powered Hub Overview. And then I'm going to click on Save. And the next thing I want to do is go to the File menu and select Blank Document once more. So this time what I would like to do is select the Describe What You'd Like to Draft with Copilot box, and I'm going to enter another prompt. Create a comprehensive plan for deploying the AI high-powered hub. Once again, take a moment to copy the prompt on the screen. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials related to this training course. When you've done that, go ahead and select the blue Send button. Now, occasionally an error may pop up, so something like this. And if you wish to, you can present feedback to Microsoft. Otherwise, you can dismiss that message and you can try again. Once again, we're presented with various options. So we could edit the prompt by clicking here. We could choose to regenerate that prompt if we're not happy. We could discard it completely. We could add to it by selecting the box here. Now I'm fairly happy, so I'm just going to select the Keep It button. And here is your new document. So I'm going to save this one again by going to File. Then I'm going to go to Save As. And I've added the name of the document, and then I'm just going to select Save. So that is an example of how you can draft a document using the feature that pops up when you first create a brand new document. Now it's worth mentioning this did take a little bit of time to produce, so you could always select the Copilot panel and type a new prompt in the message panel. Welcome to the next tutorial video where we'll be taking a look at adjusting tone, length and structure with your Microsoft Word in-app documents utilizing Copilot. Let's go and take a look. What we're currently looking at is an AI high-powered hub expanded white paper. I just scroll through this document so that you can take a look at it. And as you can see, it's quite extensive. There's a lot of information here. We have some tables, a lot of text, and there's some metrics. There's also some graphs as well. So it really is quite a long document. Now, if we focus on tone first, there are several options that you can utilize in terms of adjusting the tone of a document. A good overall tip in terms of rewriting the document to a different tone would be to say something like, rewrite this text to sound like a certain tone. So rewrite this text to sound more friendly whilst keeping the original meaning, or rewrite this text so that it is clear and direct, or rewrite this text so that it is more persuasive and confident. In addition, you could also add a prompt to the effect of rewrite this to sound more natural and human, avoiding corporate or AI style phrasing. Copilot also responds well if you name what to avoid, not just what to add. Now, if you want to use Copilot to alter your document and refine it, the best thing to do is to click into your document, hold down the Control key on your keyboard and press A. That will select all of the content in your document. When you've done that, hover over the icon on the left-hand side, which is the Rewrite Copilot button, and go ahead and click on that. This will present you with options to describe what you'd like to edit. Just before we explore this further, you have options here. You can auto rewrite, update to keep the formatting, fix all the spelling and grammar, structure and refine, make this shorter, make it formal. There are writing suggestions and visualize as a table. You can also opt to open up the Chat with Copilot panel on the right-hand side. Now, because we are focusing on three elements, that is the tone, the length, and the structure of this document, I'm not going to utilize one of these quick options here. Instead, I'm going to select the Describe What You'd Like to Edit box, and I'm going to enter my prompt. This is the prompt, so rewrite this in a professional, confident tone as if you are a senior manager. Reduce the length by about 30% and improve clarity. Include the graphs, and for any tables, convert these into bulleted lists. Now, the reason why I've said that is because I know that Copilot does tend to struggle a little bit with tables. So for example, if I was to produce this without that prompt, it would go ahead and add the tables in, and there may be some issues in terms of the background colors in the cells and the font color. Now, at this point, you may want to pause the video so that you can copy this prompt. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials related to this training course. And when you're ready, go ahead and select the blue send button. Now, it's going to take Copilot a little bit of time to be able to produce that rewrite of your document. Make sure you take a good look through to see if everything looks okay. And you'll notice that your original content is still available in your document, and the rewritten content has been produced after that or following that. So from page 13, we have the new content. If you weren't happy with this, you could always select the edit button here to edit the prompt. I'm going to select the cancel button to return back to the options. You can also choose to regenerate this. You can discard it, or you could select the box on the right hand side. So if you wanted to fine tune the draft to add some further detail and regenerate this, you could add your details here. I'm going to select the arrow to return back to the tool. And you've got a couple of options now. You can choose to keep this and the original content of the document, or you can opt to select replace. I'm going to go with replace. Now this has made the document more succinct. It is now 8 pages when it was 12. So I'm fairly happy with this. And just to note, you can also alter sentences, paragraphs, bulleted lists easily. If we look at the executive summary paragraph here, if I wanted to make changes to that, I could highlight the paragraph, and from the pop-up, there's a button here to Copilot. If I click on that, that will return back to the familiar options that we have available. So if, for example, I wanted to make the executive summary shorter, I can just click on the option here to make it shorter. Now, Copilot has produced the shortened version, which you can see on screen. Again, if you are happy with this, you could replace the paragraph with this shortened version. You could insert it below so then you could contrast both, or you could opt to regenerate if you weren't happy with what it has produced. Otherwise, there's a box here, which is what do you want Copilot to change. If I click into there, you could then add further details, for example, make it more concise or change the tone. Again, I'm fairly happy with what it's produced, so I'm going to select the replace button. And now you can see we have a more succinct executive summary. Welcome to this video tutorial where we'll be looking at editing, rewriting and refinement in terms of using Copilot within Microsoft Word. Let's go and take a look. I've opened up the AI High-Powered Hub Strategic White Paper. This is the one that we edited in the previous lesson. Now with this document, I'm going to focus on page 1 with the introduction, executive summary and service overview and value proposition. Now whilst this content is okay, particularly with the service overview, I'd like to provide a little paragraph to explain what that actually is and what it involves. We'll also spend some time editing, rewriting and refining the text within these sections. Starting with the service overview and value proposition, you can see I've placed the cursor in the first bullet point, which is comprehensive AI solutions and expertise for full lifecycle support. So in terms of adding a paragraph underneath the heading, what we're going to do is select the pencil icon to open up Draft with Copilot menu. And then we're going to use this to describe what we'd like to edit within this section. At this point, you may want to pause the video so that you can copy the prompt on screen. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials related to this training course. And when you're ready, click the blue send button. As you can see, that has inserted a new paragraph underneath the heading, service overview and value proposition. If we're not happy with this, we could use the tools to edit the prompt. We could select the create new paragraph to edit this prompt. We could also regenerate it. We could discard it. And there's also the box, for example, if we click into there, we could choose to make this more formal or add in a tonal change. I'm going to select the arrow to go back, and I'm going to select the Keep It button. And I'm just taking a look at the introduction, and I've decided I'd like to add a little bit more information to this. So I'm going to use the mouse to click and drag across the whole paragraph. Then I'm going to select the Copilot button that appears above in the window. Then, looking at the list of options available here, I'm going to select the writing suggestions. And here Copilot is providing some suggestions about how you might be able to improve this paragraph. And if you look here, there is one of two. So if I select the next arrow, this shows another suggestion. So if we take a look at this suggestion, it's talking about including a brief mention of anticipated impact or benefits for stakeholders, setting out the expectation for the reader and underscoring the importance of the hub's mission. Heading back to the first suggestion. So this suggestion is talking about how this could be made to be more compelling by briefly mentioning what differentiates this hub from other initiatives or platforms. I like this change, so I'm going to select the Apply Selected Suggestions button, and we'll go ahead and select the blue Send button. And you'll notice what has happened is your original paragraph is still present. You could choose to keep the new paragraph, which will also keep your original, or you can opt to replace your original paragraph with the new paragraph. So I'm going to just replace the original with the new suggestion. So I'm going to click the Replace button, and then we'll just remove the additional space that's been added into the document. The paragraph for executive summary, I'm going to select this and then select the Copilot button. And this time I'm going to describe what I'd like to edit with this particular paragraph. And so I'm asking Copilot if it can enhance and include all the benefits and risks associated and describe in detail how the hub is implemented using a concise but warm tone which will appeal to senior managers. At this point, you may want to pause the video so that you can copy the prompt. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials related to this training course. And when you're ready, select the blue Send button. And this is the result that Copilot has produced, which is quite comprehensive. I'm reasonably happy with this, so I'm going to select the Replace button, and here is the new text. Now, on reflection, I am happy with the executive summary, but I think it could do with some refining. So what I'm going to do is drag and select all of the paragraphs, and then using the Copilot button in the pop-up window here, I'm going to select that. And you'll notice on the list of quick options, there's one for structure and refine. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. As you can see, it's added headings, it's restructured the paragraphs, and it's refined them so that they're easier to read. I'm going to go ahead and select the Replace button. And I'm just going to remove some of these extra spaces that have appeared. And we seem to have inherited an extra heading, which I'm just going to remove. Now, just looking at market challenges, there's a paragraph here I'm not too happy with. There's a spelling mistake, and the language is a little bit generic and not really very helpful. So what we're going to do is adjust this paragraph. So I'll select the paragraph and click on the Copilot button. And I'll go ahead and select the Auto Rewrite button. And here you can see this has produced the following option, and it's kind of okay. We can also look at another version by clicking on the arrow, and we'll explore the third option. And whilst this is an improvement, I think what we'll do is select the change box and we'll enter some more information. This is the additional prompt, briefly overview the types of challenges and factors in a concise way. So let's go and send that off and regenerate. As you can see, that is much improved. So now you have choices. You can replace the existing paragraph by clicking the blue button, or you can insert this version below that so you can keep the original. So I'm going to select the blue Replace button. As you can see, that has inserted the paragraph Market Challenges, which is much improved now. Welcome to this video tutorial where we're going to be looking at improving clarity and professionalism using Copilot within Microsoft Word. Let's go and take a look. I've come back to the familiar AI High-Powered Hub Strategic White Paper. We made some changes to this document to make some improvements. And if I just scroll down to the AI initiatives section, here what I've done is I've deliberately created a paragraph that is wordy, it has some mistakes, and it's generally quite a messy, long paragraph. So what we're going to do is make this cleaner. We're going to improve the clarity and professionalism of this paragraph. So go ahead and select the paragraph, and then click on the Copilot button that appears on the little toolbar. Now you have several options. We could use writing suggestions. This provides a lot of useful information and advice about how to improve your writing. We could make this more formal. We could shorten it. We could also structure and refine it. But we could also describe what we'd like to edit, which is what I'm going to do in this case. As you can see, I've added the prompt, which is make this paragraph more structured and improve the flow and professionalism. Add clear bullet points to enhance the clarity. At this point, you may want to pause the video so that you can copy the prompt. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials related to this training course. And when you're ready, click on the blue send button. Copilot has now completed that task, and if we take a look, we can see a very short paragraph here with some key areas which are nicely focused within these bullet point sections. Overall, this represents quite an improvement from that very long, lengthy paragraph that we can see here. And as such, I think that would be much better to replace this paragraph with the content that AI has come up with. So I'm going to select the replace button. What I've done, if we scroll down further to page 4 of this document, is I've added the ownership and accountability, security considerations and ethical concerns, some quite lengthy, wordy and unprofessional style text. So what we're going to do is we're going to correct that. I click and drag across all of the relevant paragraphs and sections that I want to change. And by the way, if the little box disappears, you just need to click on the icon on the left-hand side to open up the Copilot menu. And if I click into the describe box, then I can enter my prompt. So this is the prompt: make the selected paragraphs more professional, easier to understand, make it suitable for a business audience and improve the tone. Now at this point, you might want to pause the video to be able to copy the prompt. Otherwise, please refer to the support materials related to this training course. And when you're ready, select the blue send button. And as you can see, paragraphs look a lot cleaner and more professional now. I'm happy with this, so I'm just going to select the replace button. And here you can see that we've made some direct improvements to those paragraphs. Hello and welcome to the next Copilot tutorial video. And in this video, we'll be using Copilot to help us draft emails, reply to emails, and summarize long threads. Let's get started. Here is an email from John Smith, a prospective client who wants to know more about our AI service. So I want to use Copilot to help me construct a response. To do that, we'll click on the Copilot button in the top right-hand side of the screen. This will open up your Copilot panel. Within the message Copilot box, we're going to ask a question. Here is the prompt: can you create a suitable response? And I'm going to select the blue button to send that off. Here is the response from Copilot, making a suggestion about the kind of email response that we could formulate. So quite extensive. And Copilot has also suggested further prompts which we could use just by selecting them. Now I think what we'll ask it is if it can provide a call to action. So I'm going to send that prompt away. Copilot has updated the draft with a strong call to action added. If we take a look down, you can see it's added this next steps paragraph. It's talking about, could we schedule a quick call this week to discuss your requirements? We could also ask Copilot if it would be able to summarize this long thread. Let's have a go at that. So next, I'm asking if the draft email could be summarized to make it tighter. Let's send that off and see what happens. What Copilot has done, as you can see, it has summarized that email. It has condensed the information to make it easier to read. Now, in terms of summarizing, you can also summarize the content of an email by clicking the summarize button at the top here. You'll notice that I have collapsed the Copilot panel. So by clicking the summarize button, it will reopen the Copilot panel. and it will summarize the contents of that email as you can see on screen. I just want to draw your attention to the three dots here. Clicking on the three dots will open up a further menu which will allow you to change the type of model that Copilot is using from auto to quick response or think deeper. So I'm fairly happy with these suggestions. So I'm going to copy the information with my mouse, as you can see, and holding down the control key on the keyboard and pressing the C key. Now that I've done that, I'm going to come back to the email, select the reply button, and I'm going to paste in the suggested draft email. So here's the draft email. We just need to make a bit of a tweak. We've included the subject, which we'll remove, and I just need to add my contact details here. And if you wanted to, you could always add your booking link here. Otherwise, you could always delete that text, which would enable them to provide a time. In this next video, we'll be looking at how Copilot can help you to schedule and organize meetings. Let's go and take a look. If you have received an email like the email that you can see on screen, then what you can do is open up the Copilot panel. And if you click into the message Copilot box, you can ask Copilot for some suggestions in terms of setting up a Teams meeting. And this is an example of the type of prompt that you might like to use. When you're ready, just select the blue button to send that off. And as you can see, Copilot is constructing a set of instructions for you in order that you can set up and create the meeting and send the Outlook invite. Let's look at the response from Copilot in more detail to my question. And if we scroll down, we can see that Copilot has produced steps to help me to create the meeting in Outlook. And if we keep going further down, we can see there are alternative steps for creating the meeting in Teams. And at the very bottom, it's also making some further suggestions. Would you like me to draft the email confirmation? And you can review these instructions. And if there's anything here that you're not sure about, you can always add a further prompt for Copilot. And as you can see, there are some clear buttons here that you can click, for example, to draft an email to John if you wish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the calendar in a separate browser tab by right-clicking on the calendar icon and selecting Open in New Tab. So now we have the calendar view open. If I head back to the previous tab, I can start to copy over some of the details. I'm going to copy the title of the meeting by using my mouse to select and holding down Control and pressing C. Back to the calendar view. The next step is to click into my calendar where I'd like the meeting to take place. So that's going to be the 17th of December at 2:30. And I'm going to paste in the title by hitting Ctrl+V. For required attendees, you'll need to enter John's name or his email address. Now that we have invited John, I'm going to select one of the suggested times. We can also directly add the time here. We'll make sure that the Teams slider is activated and we'll paste in our description for the event. Everything is in order. All we need to do is select the send button. And that has now successfully created the event. Should you wish to make changes to the event, just click on it and select the edit button. So from here, you can edit any of the details as required. Now, if you're having some difficulties finding out if people are going to be available, then you can always use the scheduling assistant tab at the top here. That will pull up everyone's calendar so you can easily identify when there's a vacant slot available. The next thing I'd like to show you is how you can schedule a meeting from your Teams calendar. So I've come into the Teams desktop application. I've selected the calendar icon to head to the calendar. Then I'm just going to click into the vacant slot where I'd like to hold the meeting. I've added the title of the meeting, which is AI Hub Services Business Meeting. Make sure it's a Teams meeting by activating the slider. I've also added an invite for John so he can access the Teams meeting. You can add further details and a description by clicking into here. There's also an option at the bottom here which will allow you to add an agenda. So let's select the Add Agenda button. This will load up the Loop Components feature where you can add agenda items. Just click where it says Topic to add your agenda item. Here is an example of one of them. So welcome to introductions with some bullet points. And if you wish to add more, just click the plus button, then select the suitable loop component. We're using a checklist for this example, and then just type in the next item. You can also add meeting notes, and if the person is in your organization, you can also create tasks. In our example, because John is an external client, we won't be able to do that. And when you're ready, just select the send button to send the meeting request away. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at how you can use Copilot in the Microsoft Edge sidebar. Let's jump in and have a look. Here we are looking at the Google homepage. I'm using the Microsoft Edge browser. And to get to the Copilot chat, we'll need to click in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And that will open up the Copilot panel. To add a prompt, we'll need to click in the message Copilot box. And I'm going to construct a simple prompt. So my prompt is, can you explain why Copilot is useful for businesses? Now, before I send that off, I just want to point out there are different options available for the prompt. If I click where it says smart, you can change the type of response option here. So you have smart option, quick response, think deeper. There are also options for studying and learn and search. We're going to just leave it as it is. And I'm going to click on the submit message button. And as you can see, here is the result of that prompt. Copilot is giving some useful information about why it will be beneficial for businesses. Scrolling right to the bottom, Copilot has made some further suggestions about the types of prompts that we might want to explore in further detail. Underneath that, you can like a good response. You can give it a bad response, thumbs down. We could share that message and prompt. So by clicking on that share button, you have different options in terms of sharing this. So I could copy a link to that. I could email this prompt. There's a link to X, Facebook, and Reddit. I could also copy this message by clicking here, and that will be copied to the clipboard. The next button regenerates the chat, and there's also a link to edit this in Pages. So editing this in Pages will give you access to format the text. For example, if we click on the button, and as you can see, that has opened up some formatting tools at the top. I could select some text here, and I could embolden it by clicking on B. And right at the top, you have some further options. You can copy this page, you could share it and delete it. Head back to the original chat by clicking on the arrow at the top. And as you can see, that has created a page in the chat. You also have options within the message area by clicking on the plus button. You can attach images or files, generate an image, start a deep research, start a quiz, take a screenshot, or add tabs. And the microphone icon on the right hand side will open up Vision, and we can have an actual conversation with the AI. Just to note, if that's not available for you, it's likely something to do with your account type. Otherwise, the microphone will be a dictation tool that will convert your speech into text. Welcome to the next tutorial video where we'll be exploring how you can summarize web content, compare products, and create lists by using Copilot in Edge. Let's take a closer look. Here we are in the Microsoft Edge browser. We're looking at the Google homepage, and I'm going to run a search for Amazon. And the result that I'm looking for is the amazon.co.uk website. Now, if you're not in the UK, the Amazon result will likely pull up the location that you're currently in. I'm going to select the link here, and this has loaded up the amazon.co.uk website. Now, what I can do is I can open up the Copilot panel by clicking on the chat icon at the top right-hand corner of the screen. And as you can see, Copilot is automatically making some suggestions to me, such as what products are most popular on Amazon UK. What I'm interested in is getting a new laptop. So I'm going to run a search for laptops using the search box at the top. Here are the search results for laptops, quite a lot, 430 results. And I just want to tweak the price. So I don't want anything greater than £800. Now, Copilot can help me to narrow down the results. So I'm going to use the prompt here to ask Copilot some questions. So I'm asking Copilot if it can identify the best laptop for the price. I'm going to send that off. And as you can see, here are the results that Copilot has come up with. So it's identified a Lenovo IdeaPad Slim 3 as one that it feels is the best value. It's also providing a strong runner-up and the best budget pick. It's also providing information about laptops to avoid. And right at the bottom, it's providing some further suggestions. Do you want me to pick the best one for your needs? And because I want this laptop for work, I'm going to enter a further prompt in the chat. So I'm saying it's for business purposes, and I'm going to send that prompt off. And so it's still identifying the Lenovo IdeaPad as a really good option for business use. And it's also updated the additional information. And as you can see, we could narrow the results even further. So there are some further suggestions about the screen type preference. Finally, another key aspect is having a long battery life. So I'm going to add that as a new prompt. This time, I'm going to open up the Smart menu. I'm going to select the Think Deeper option, and then we'll send that one off. And it's still coming up with the Lenovo IdeaPad. If we scroll down, it's providing a useful table comparing the different features. I'm going to come out of the Think Deeper and reset it back to the default. The next prompt that I want to send off to Copilot is to ask it if it can create a comprehensive list of all of the laptops that have been discussed today. Let's send that off. And here are the results. As you can see on screen, I'm just going to scroll down. Very similar to the previous results, but we also have a table there available as well. And if we wanted to, we could copy the response by clicking the copy message icon, and then we could paste that into a Word document. Here is a blank document, and if I hold down the Control key and press V, and we have successfully pasted in that information about the list of laptops, which you could then save for later. Welcome to the next video tutorial where we'll be exploring generating questions and response options with Microsoft Forms. Let's take a look. And we're back on the homepage for M365. And the next app that we're going to explore is the Microsoft Forms application. To get there, you'll need to go to the Apps link on your toolbar and open up All Applications. Just a quick tip, if you right-click or select the three dots, you can pin this application to the toolbar to make it easier to access. And next I'm going to select the Forms link here to go to Forms. Here is the homepage for Microsoft Forms. Just before we go to create a new form, I just want to point out that there are some Explore templates here. So these are all pre-created, so you might find something of interest here. I'm going to go ahead and select New Form. And immediately we have the option to draft the form with Copilot, which is really useful. So I'm going to add a prompt. As you can see, this is the prompt that I've added into Copilot. At this point, you may want to pause the video so that you can copy the prompt. And when you're ready, just select the Send button to send that prompt away. As you can see, this is what Copilot has come up with. Pretty comprehensive. It's done pretty much what I wanted it to do. You could also fine tune by selecting the Add More Details for Copilot box and then typing in the information and sending that off again. If you're happy with that, just select the Keep It button, and that takes you into the Microsoft form. Now, if you want to edit any of those questions, just click into the question you want to edit. If you wanted to add more answers, you've got some suggestions here that Copilot has come up with, or you can select the Add option to add an additional option. There's also the Add Other option, which enables the person completing the form to type an answer. Now, perhaps we need to add an additional question after question 4. So what I'm going to do is select question 4 and I have options to insert a new question, or I could use Copilot to insert a question. So I'm going to go with the Copilot option, and I'm going to describe the type of question that I'd like to have after question 4. Again, at this point, you may want to pause the video so that you can copy a similar prompt. Otherwise, when you're ready, go ahead and select the Generate button. And here is the question that Copilot has come up with. Now I could always edit that prompt, or I could click into the Add More Details for Copilot to fine tune the draft and send more information away. I'm actually happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and select the Keep It button. And there's our new question. Now, if we wanted to manually add a question, we can click into the Add New Question button. And that presents the following choice of question types that we could access. So for example, if I just select the rating type question, and here is the question, please rate our services. I have options now to change the levels, and I could also use the symbol drop down to change the type of symbol to a different symbol, such as a thumbs up. Some further options for you. If you want to make it a required question, click the slider. You can also add an image or a video to the question by clicking the icon here. So that's an image. select the Insert Image button. And if you have access to Bing, you can use Bing Search, or you can grab an image from OneDrive or upload an image. So I've run a search for AI. I'm going to select an appropriate image, and then I'm going to click on the Add button. And as you can see, there's an image now that's attached to that question type. Another thing you might want to do is style your form. And if you look at the top, there's a link there to style. So just go ahead and open that one up. And that presents you with different options to style your form. So you can see that's changing. I could also opt to have a background video or a static image. And alternatively, you can also select the Customize tab to select a generic color, or you have the option to select the plus button where you can add a custom image. So if we go to the Upload Image button, once again, we're back to our AI search. I select that image and select Add. You can see that the background is now customized. And again, I can use these options here to change the type of layout that I want for my form. And if you want to, you can also preview your form by clicking the preview button, and you have options to preview on a computer or a mobile device. Then just click back to go back to your form. And you may notice something similar. I have 4 suggestions for your form. We could have a look at that. So if we click into there, it's giving some suggestions. So update the form title for clarity and engagement. We have a little look at that by clicking into there. You can see that Copilot is making a suggestion. If you agree with that, you can click on the Apply button. And as you can see, that has changed the title. And now we've moved on to the next suggestion. Now to send this form to others, you'll need to select the Collect Responses button and choose the required permission settings. And when you've selected the type of permission you want, you can either copy the link to the clipboard, or there's an option to send out an invitation. So you can use people's names, a Teams group or channel, and then you've got options to send via an Outlook email or a Teams message. Now you can also rewrite the text here that you can see, and you can use Copilot to do that if you wish. When you're ready, select the Send button. Warm welcome to the next tutorial video where we'll be looking at summarizing large note sections within the application OneNote. Let's take a look. To get to OneNote, you'll need to head to your M365 account online. Then select the apps link on the toolbar. And you should have access to the OneNote link as on screen. So go ahead and click on that. Now in this particular example, I'm going to collapse the panel to give myself some more space with this application. And for this demonstration, I have already created a OneNote because that's going to make things a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that now. This notebook contains one section and one page, which is a guide, overview and contents. And if I scroll, as you can see, there is a lot of information here on this page. So what I'd like to do is utilize Copilot to try and summarize this. Let's go ahead and click on the Copilot button. When the message Copilot panel pops up, click into the message Copilot box and type the following prompt. So I'm asking Copilot if it can summarize this page. And to do that, I'm going to click on the purple Send button. And Copilot has produced the summary of the guide. There's also a link here. If you hover your mouse over that, that will pop down the following information. And from here, you could select Help me review the file, Draft team feedback, or Ask about this. And if we scroll down, here is the summary of that entire page. So a lot more succinct, as you can see. Then Copilot is making some further suggestions if you'd like to delve deeper into a specific section. And then underneath that, we have some buttons that you can click. So providing actionable recommendations. Which sections should I focus on? And how can I apply these insights to my business? So you have several further options that you can explore there with Copilot.
What was your favorite part of this tutorial? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Are you happy with this training? Make sure to subscribe for more great content.